Okay, so on the reteach 1 and 2, they want you to construct the circumscribed circle of the triangle. So to get circumscribed, are you doing angles or sides? Sides. So you've got to split all of the sides, okay, to make sure that they all intersect at a single point, okay? And when you do that, when you find your intersection point, then you're going to put it on the intersection point, but your pencil goes to a side or an angle to make circumscribed. Does it go to a side or an angle? Angle, right? Because it has to, circumscribed has to be on the outside, okay? So this is where you would refer back to your notes if you don't remember, okay? Inscribed. So inscribed, you're doing what? It's on the inside, but how do you get that? What lines? For inscribed. Angles. Okay, so you're going to do the angle bisector for all 3 of those. But when you do this one, where you put your point at the intersection, your pencil's going to go not to an angle, it's going to go to a side. But what do we need to know about when it goes to the side? You're right. Okay, so make sure when it goes inscribed, it's got to touch all 3 of those sides. It's not outside of the triangle. Okay, like touching one of them, it has to be inside, touching all 3 sides. Okay, bottom of this. We are going to join number 1 and number 3 together. Okay, so you're listening carefully so you don't have to do more work than you need to. Okay, so first off, number 1, it says, draw a right triangle and construct the perpendicular bisector of its sides. Where do the perpendicular bisectors meet? We already did this on our notes. Where did they meet at? What did we say that was? Hypotenuse. Okay, so that's the answer to that one. Okay, but we're going to use the drawing and the construction of doing number 1 also with number 3. Because number 3, when we do, okay, so I'm back on number 1. When we do the perpendicular bisectors, it creates what type of circle? Perpendicular bisector, so that's the sides. Creates what kind of circle? You guys have it in front of you. And you just wrote it for the directions, hopefully. What type of circle does it do when you're doing the sides? Your notes are in front of you. You are. Thank you. It's the circumscribed circle. Okay, so we're going to put number 3 with it because it says construct a triangle with 2 congruent sides and circumscribe the circle. So that you don't have to go through that step again, we're going to put 1 and 3 together. So on the back side of your worksheet, okay, don't draw this. Please let me explain what we're doing so that you know why we're condensing this. Okay, this is a right triangle because on number 1 it said just draw a right triangle, right? Okay. But we don't want to use this one because we want to join number 1 and number 3 together. It said make 2 of the sides be the same length. Okay, so we can have a right triangle with 2 sides being the same length. So just use your compass to measure 2 of the sides. Okay, so you could either have this one be your measurement or this one, it doesn't matter. But then just mark the other side with the same one. Okay, so I'm going to use this side because I want a bigger triangle because it's easier to do constructions on bigger triangles. Okay, so this side of the triangle, I want this side to be the same thing. Okay, so when I go to make my right triangle with 2 congruent sides, I just use my compass to make sure those 2 lengths of those segments were the same, right? And then I just connect to make my right triangle, okay? Because I measured this side, right? And this side being the same thing. Okay, so now these 2 sides are the same. So on number 1, it says draw a right triangle. We just did that. Construct the perpendicular bisectors of the sides. So you have to do that to do number 3, which asks you to do now the circumscribed circle. So this is number 1 and number 3 together. Okay, does that make sense? To save you steps? And if you're not listening, you're just going to do more work. Okay, number 2 says to inscribe a circle in an obtuse triangle. So what makes a triangle obtuse? Right, one of the angles is greater than 90. Okay, and again, I would not do a small drawing if I were you because it makes it really hard to put your circles on the inside of a small triangle. Okay, so you're just making sure that one of your angles is more than 90. Okay, doesn't matter how much, just more, as long as it's more than 90. Okay, and then just connect to make your obtuse triangle. Okay, and they want you to do inscribed. Okay, so that'll be your number 2. Okay, so you'll do the lines that correspond with inscribed and do your inscribed circle. Remember, inscribed, when you do your circle, it should touch all 3 of the sides when you do it. Okay, go for it. Practice. Sides and angles, inscribed, circumscribed.